Okay, here we go. We are going to have a much more muted version of Shank tonight. I already filmed this video. I ranted and raved like a lunatic for 25 minutes on a variety of topics that I both understand and don't understand. And like a dumbass, I deleted the video. So I'm going to redo it again. But I'm going to redo it again. Probably. Look, I sweat when I make these videos. That's how wacky I get. And so just please forgive me if I'm a little bit more like I just did an edible. I didn't just do an edible. I'm just kind of exhausted right now. As you notice, there will be no food video this weekend. I've already told you my saga yesterday about that, but I slept too long and didn't get to the grocery store. And so we have another question of viewer mail. And the viewer mail question today, and then next week we'll have 2 cooking videos, so we'll make up for it. But we'll do another viewer mail question. One of the viewer mail questions was, Shank, what does it take for someone to make a major change in their exercise diet and weight loss? And in my experience, there's 3 things that are really are basically you need a catalyst. Don't get me wrong. There has to be something to push you towards the massive lifestyle change most people have to undergo in order to lose weight. But there's 3 things. The first one of those 3 things is dying, or at least coming close to dying. I don't recommend this. It is by far the most effective method for getting people to turn around their lifestyle behaviors. It doesn't always work, which is one of the downsides of it. You also have to almost die, which is not an upside either, which has long-term repercussions even if you survive. Essentially what it is, it scares the crap out of people long enough to get them, or scares the crap out of them enough to get them to actually stop eating cake every night, right? Or stop working 24 hours a day, or not sleep enough, whatever it is. You can make up whatever you want. Almost dying is probably about the most effective method, unfortunately, I've ever found to get people to lose weight. Again, the issue is, do you want to go down this road? Do you want to permanently affect your health for the rest of your life? Probably not. Do you want to scare the crap out of the people you love? Definitely not. But it works. Because what all these things I'm going to talk about come down to are what do you value? What is most important to you? And one of the things I think universally people value is their existence. They want to stay alive. And sometimes if you're trying to get someone to lose 10 pounds, they may not value that as much as, say, staying on the couch all day on their day off, or eating whatever they want to eat whenever they want to eat it. They may have higher value. They have valued that much. But being alive, it's kind of a big deal to most people, and it is a pretty powerful way to motivate them to make change. Again, it's not my number 1 choice, but it is by far, in my experience, the most powerful, effective method you can use. The second method is, you gotta be careful with this, because the last video I made, I started going off on these weird tangents and rants. And I do that anyway, but I want to keep us on topic here so you can get something out of this. And telling you to almost die is not necessarily the most effective catalyst to losing weight. But the second thing is, people need a massive change in culture. It takes an incredible change in one's environment to affect their behavior to that level. And I'll give you a couple examples. I had a client of mine, I think I've used this story before, went to Korea. And they were in like downtown Seoul, and they're walking down the street, and they saw this food vendor, and they want to get some authentic South Korean food. So they get food from the food vendor, and they start walking down the street. And as they're walking and eating, the entire city block, like Seoul's a city of millions of people, right, stops what they're doing and stares at them while they're walking and eating. Because in that culture, you don't do that. You get your food, you sit down, you enjoy it, and then that's it. You don't do other things while you're eating. Right? Another example I'll give you. A client of mine who worked for a company that made protein bars. And they made this protein bar in Japan. And it was like, I think it was like 120 calories. And, Japanese people aren't as big as Americans, so they don't need as much food. So they put the protein bar on the market. They had great reviews. It tasted awesome, right? It's fantastic. And then they get the product down the shelves. No one will buy it. So they go back to market research. And market research, what the hell happened? Why are our clients not smiling and looking beautiful while they're eating our product? And the market researchers said, well, this is Japan. You make something that's 120 calories, no one's going to eat that as a snack. They think it's gluttonous. What they do, they didn't change the ingredients. They didn't do anything. They just made the bar smaller and more people bought it. Then they took the same bar, okay, get this. They brought it to America, a land obsessed with weight loss. And they're like, well, Americans are on average taller and heavier than the average Japanese person. So they made the bar 180 calories. Taste tests went through the roof. Everyone loved it. Right? It's like one of those people that everyone loves. It was a slam dunk. Guess what happened? They couldn't sell the damn bar. So what do? Go back to the market researchers. Market researchers tell them, this is America. No one is going to pay that amount of money for 180 calories. And they feel they're getting ripped off. They don't think there's enough food. So they jacked the calories up to like 240. Guess what happened? Couldn't keep the product on the shelves. Right? Those are two different cultures at work right there. Three different. The South Korean and the Japanese culture versus the American culture. Another example, there's this guy, to go on the American side, guy Mike Ruggiero. He's a big time powerlifter at Westside Barbell. And I follow him on Instagram because he tells a lot of great stories about weightlifting. And he was at Applebee's with his family one night. And the offer was, if you get like a whole rack of ribs or got whatever, a full entree, you got like a free lava cake with ice cream. And he put underneath, he put, this is why Americans are overweight, right? And then underneath he put, P.S., the lava cake was delicious. And I thought it was awesome because it wasn't like he was going on some moralistic lecture like I have a danger of doing in these videos. He was like kind of like Michael Corleone with Senator Geary, right? It's like, Senator, like we're both products of the same hypocrisy. Don't ever think it applies to my family, right? He's making a joke. He's like pointing out how ridiculous this is. And it's kind of like in America, we fat shame. We wait till the food gets in someone's stomach, wait till the after effects occur, and then we throw the shame. Whereas like in the Korean and Japanese culture, it's like your fork shame. The food doesn't even get into your mouth, right, to gain the weight. And that's a big deal. I'll give you another example. I had a client of mine who came from a background, a family that really emphasized academics. And this was not like from a rich hoity-toity family where they had money all the time. They actually came from a very poor background. But him and his wife agreed that their children would be academic successes. And they said to their kids, look, we are going to prioritize this. This comes before your social life. It comes before sports. It comes before everything but your family. And what happened? Most recently, his kid got accepted to 3 of the most prestigious universities in the world, right? Because the United States kicks ass in universities. They're all in America. 3 of the most prestigious universities in the world for her major. And, I said to him, I was like, that's incredible. And another client of mine is a professor at one of these places. I said to him, he said, I was just wondering for this guy's daughter, is there anything I can tell him that she should look out in these schools? Any of these schools better than the other? And he said something. He says, no, actually, those 3 schools you just mentioned are so good at what they do. They're such incredible programs. This kid cannot go wrong. This kid can't make a mistake. And the big thing that struck me about that, you said, like, the kid wants to go to a city school or like a local, like, smaller school. That might be a factor, but it's not the academic programs, not one bit whatsoever. And that to me it's a matter of a culture that he created in his family and for his kids. And obviously they follow through on it. No one's talking trash, right? It makes a difference. The problem is good luck with changing your culture. Unless you make a decision very early on to make everything you do. And again, it's all values, right? It's what they value. They valued that more than anything. And in the end, the kid basically, we all get excited. Oh, that kid's an All-American in this sport. Or this kid's like, won the state meet in wrestling or track, or he's an all-state or all-county football. This kid was an all-county, all-state, all-American student. I mean, it's the same thing. If you value the sports, your kid's going to work more towards the sports. If you value the academics like this guy did, it made a huge difference. And then that kind of feeds into my third point. Right, look, the first one's off the table. We don't want people going out and trying. Look, my father died of a heart attack. There is not a day I don't miss my dad. So I'm not being flippant about that. I don't find this friggin' funny. I don't think it's, I think it's, dying heart attack, oh, you lose weight. I don't, and look, I'm not going to go Shank emotional here. But it's not an option. And the second option, the culture is, it's just way too difficult for most people to pull off, but it works. The third thing I've found that helps people lose weight and keep it off permanently is they have to value whatever it takes for them to do to lose that weight more than they have to value what it is they're doing to gain the weight. And I'll go back to the example of the guy I just mentioned. You know, he could talk all the trash in the world, and he could tell you, yeah, we really value academics with my kids. But the reality is, the proof came that when it came time for his kid to apply to these universities, despite being from a town where not a lot of the kids get into these universities because the schools purposely limit the number of kids from those wealthier areas to get in these schools, and the kids still did it, right? It's like fighting with one arm behind your academic back, and the kids still found out a way to win. That's not talking trash. That's following through and putting, I guess the proof is in the pudding. I don't like pudding, but whatever, you get the point. People don't trash all the time in my field, right? I don't, let me say this real quick when it comes to this last point. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you tell me you value. I just don't, because I've seen it too many times. I care what you do on a daily basis. I care how you react to what happens on a daily basis. That tells me what you value. I'll give you another example. It goes back to the culture. Now I'm rambling, so I'm out of my mind right now. When I converted to Judaism, no one could give a crap how many push-ups I could do. No one cared, right? It was worthless, at least in my synagogue it was. But if I could read Hebrew, more importantly, if I stood in front of someone who completely disagreed with me, but I could follow a logical train of thought and come up with arguments, because of the religious environment, there had to be stuff from the Torah, but you get the point. If I could follow a logical train of thoughts and come up with good references, even if someone didn't agree with me, they had to say, you know what? You're right. Because that's what's valued in that. I can't speak for all Jews all over the place, but I can speak for that specific environment. That's what was important. And then the follow through is they follow through on it, right? It's you could tell me you care about your appearance, but if you don't do the things you need to do to present a better package to the world, it doesn't matter. It's what you do that matters. And God, I started thinking about my dad. I'm sorry to get, I'm a little off track here. All right, perfect example. I love Sussman Chicken. Right? If you don't know what Sussman Chicken is, my client Naomi Sussman, she had a Seder, and she makes these roasted chickens, and she marinates them in honey and soy sauce, and they're delicious. I love Sussman Chicken. It's delicious. And so we were at the Seder the other night, and I'm eating the Sussman Chicken, and I love it so much. You know, it's like I start eating it, and then all of a sudden, like all these people around me, they're looking beautiful, and they're discussing all these topics. And I just start eating my Sussman Chicken, and my head like slowly starts to creep down and down and down, closer and closer to the plate. And then the use of utensils becomes less and less frequent. Because at that point, I valued eating the Sussman Chicken more than not looking like a caveman. But, you know, I am what I am, whatever. I really enjoy it. Here's the deal, though. I can't eat Sussman Chicken all the time. And if I had the Sussman Chicken at that Seder and then my pants didn't fit very well, I wouldn't be eating much more Sussman Chicken. Even though it's delicious, it's very calorie dense. So what I did was, because my pants were fine, I ate the Sussman Chickens that I brought home with me. But if I didn't, if my pants were fitting tight, guess what would happen? The Sussman Chickens would have went in the freezer, and then when my pants fit well, I would have took them out of the freezer and I would have eaten them. Because again, I value my pants fitting more than I value how good that food tastes. Now, I don't value my pants fitting more than eating the chicken at that table at that time, because when you cook for someone, that's an act of love. And I value that more than I value how my pants fit. But over the long term, the second, third, fourth, fifth day afterwards, sure as hell. You know, if again, I couldn't be eating that every day, I wouldn't eat it. And that doesn't make me better than you. It's just what I value. It's what's important to me. And so therefore I make sure to follow through on the things that are important to me, right? If I met the most, I'll give you an example. If I met the most beautiful girl in the world, right? I mean, I just see her in my eyes. Big smile, she's pretty and she's happy to be alive. And unlike me, she's well dressed and she's smart, she's funny. If she came up to me and said, I don't like those dogs, those pit bulls, they're scary, they can turn on you, it would be over before it started, right? I don't care if Olivia Newton-John showed up in a pair of skin-tight black leggings, right? Redoing the last 10 minutes of Grease. She says one bad thing about dogs, and literally she no longer is hot. That's just because that's what I value, right? There's so many stupid things I've done in my life, chasing after women. But the one thing I would never do is give up dogs for that. Because again, it's like common sense, going to bed on time, not spending money, not making an idiot out of myself. Yeah, that's below me trying to, meet a girl. But then there's dogs, right? And that's like, it doesn't get, it's like Architect to George Costanza. It doesn't get any higher than that. So if the girl loves dogs, then it's awesome. I've always said that the woman I ever want to meet, if we were on a boat and it was me, her, and a dog, and she would throw me overboard. That's the woman of my dreams right there, right? But, well, she'd probably throw me overboard anyway, but that's a common reaction. But enough ripping on myself. The reality is we all value different things. And you can't die. You're not going to massively change your culture. So you're going to have to find a way. You're going to have that catalyst to say, look, I love ice cream. I love cookies. I love cake. I love Sussman Chicken. And I incorporate those things in my life because I value the relationships and to a degree the flavor and the taste more than say I value having six-pack abs. But I don't value them more than weight. I don't value those more though than weighing less than 200 pounds. Right? So even there is that kind of get back to that Esikovian philosophy of what we do in the gym is meant to help what we do outside the gym better. Right? To me, there's a limit. Right? Of course, I wouldn't be eating many of those things if I was trying to get ripped abs, but I don't value that as much as I value what comes along with those things. But I don't eat them all the time. And again, this doesn't make me better or worse. It's where my focus is in life. I've met some of the biggest, I'm going to use a bad word here, but I don't care. Some of the biggest scumbags I've ever met in my life. I've met people who have six-pack abs and are just all jacked up and looking amazing, or women that just look, sexy as hell. Some of the most morally decrepit people I've ever met in my life have been what we would consider the physical ideal. And some of the most morally commendable people I've met in my life are so overweight they can't see their feet. I'm not saying that to be flippant or funny. I mean, literally, their bellies are so big they can't see their feet. So unless you've got a kid at home and you're stuffing your face in front of the kid and then the kid's overweight and he's got type 2 diabetes at like 10 years old and he's putting down fat cells he'll never get rid of in his life, then maybe there's a moral component to this. But that's really it. I would argue that nobody does this on their own in the sense that there has to be something that's pushing you towards, especially living in a country like ours and you're not in Japan and you're not in Korea or whatever, you don't have anything pushing you towards, see, another thing, and I'm thinking about my dad, I'm thinking about the woman of my dreams, I'm thinking about dogs, and my brain's all over the place. Here's the bottom line. Near-death experience, massive change in a culture that values, say, being thin over other pleasures, or two, a major change in how you view things in terms of you can say all the things you want to say to me that you want, but until you start following through consistently on the behaviors, I make this easy. Look, I just wrote a book called The 10% Solution. I'm just finishing up the last edit now, and then I'm going to start submitting it out to possible publishers. I make it very clear in the first few pages of the book. The rest of the entire book, I think it's like 200 something pages. The entire book is all window dressing for like what I cover in the first 5. Within certain degrees, current body weight times 10 in calories. They first off see your doctor. I talk about this all the time. Dead people don't lose weight, they decompose. But current body weight times 10. More active people will have to jack that number maybe up to 12 to 13 times. Some people are so inactive, the number may go down to 8 or 9 times body weight in calories a day. So if you're a 200-pound guy and your average activity, you're 2,000 calories a day. You do that consistently every day if possible, but at least over the average of a week or a month until you lose 10% of your body weight. And then take a break. Take whatever your current body weight is then, multiply that times 15, eat that many calories for a month. Come up for air. Practice maintenance. Teach yourself that you can turn it on when you turn it on, turn it off when you turn it off. Build those skills. It's not more complicated than that. I wish it was. And then if you need to lose more weight, go back to the body weight times 10 till you lose another 10% or another 5%, and then go back in another maintenance period. That's literally how complex this gets. Where it becomes challenging for people, I said this in this book, weight loss is weird in the sense that globally it's very simple, right? You eat less than you burn off. Now that pisses people off, but it's still true whether it makes them angry or not. It's locally where weight loss becomes complicated. Because unlike most things, no one would argue that a typical household budget is more complex than the U.S. government budget. So weight loss is weird like that. And the basic principle is very simple, but how you apply it to yourself as an individual is complex. And that's why I say the idea of do you value weight loss is so important. Because if you don't value it and you value all these other things, you'll never figure out the complexity of how that applies to you, especially when you live in what really is the most obesogenic society probably in history. In the United States, the biggest population of the obese is in the poor. That makes no sense historically, right? Historically, the poor would starve, and the rich people were fat, and everyone was like, oh, that guy's fat, he must be rich, right? You're going to need that. You're going to need, in all practical purposes, some way to figure out, all right, I like eating ice cream, but I can't eat it all the time. So why don't we just do what Shank said? Take my current body weight times 10, be an adult, suck it up for right now, make the sacrifice I need to make, get 10% of my body weight off, and then when I go in that maintenance period where I got more calories to play with, then I'll be eating my ice cream. And then when I lose all the weight I need to lose, it's like a lifetime of a maintenance period, unless you need to turn it up a little because you're going on a cool, sexy beach vacation, right? You gotta look beautiful. Then you can turn it back up again. But on maintenance calories, you can have ice cream every now and then, not gain weight. Because current body weight times 15, that means a 200-pound guy is eating 3,000 calories a day, right? There's room for ice cream in there. And that's really what it comes down to. It is all about, for good or for bad, right or for wrong. Use the example of the guy who wasn't talking trash about how important academics was to his kids. I don't care what you say. I care what you do. Because what you do is what tells me what you value. Look, I got sick of hiding under a rock as a personal trainer in the gym. And so I put myself out here. I dare any of you people to put a friggin' camera on and run it. How long am I rambling now? Run it for, Jesus, 23 minutes. Run it for 23 minutes and see what the hell comes out of your mouth. But you know what? I value not hiding under my rock anymore, more than I value some of the issues I might get myself into. Oh, Shanky rambles too much. Oh, that Shank tells all these wacky stories. Oh, he repeats the same things over and over again. He's like a goddamn infomercial. Yeah, that's who I am. But for me, it's more important that I get my thoughts out there, I get myself out there, than it is whatever criticism comes my way. Most of it's probably valid because I am what I am. That's what it comes down to. And that's really about it. Look, I make these videos so it gives you some idea. Once you've made that decision to do that body weight times 10 or whatever you talk to your doctor about is appropriate for you, I make these videos to help give you ideas of how you can navigate the exercise part of it, how you can navigate the diet part of it, what things you should look out for, what things you shouldn't look out for. And I help you kind of give you a little nudge, help you kind of figure out what it is you need to do to take part of that local complexity of weight loss. But ultimately, I'm not your catalyst, you are. I only help you figure out how to make better decisions. And that's about it. Again, Jesus, 40, what is it now? Rambling on for about 50 minutes tonight, so I'm tired. I got to call my mom. It's Easter. And that's it. I guess I have nothing else to say. The 3 things of massive change, near-death experience, massive change in culture, or you change the way you view things. in the sense of you put more value and you get more out of doing the things necessary to lose weight than the things that put weight on you. And then in the end, that's really up to you. So that's 25 minutes. That's enough. I will talk to everyone next week. We'll have the cooking videos. Thank you very much. And that's it.